We can do that. If it's not,
It's
right on.
Thank you. I didn't know it was on there. I'm sorry. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
How's the racing? Who are all these contacts?
All right. I think we'll be getting a few more people as we get started, but let's get started. Thank you everyone for coming. I am Matt Abrams, one of your directors at Camp Kawaga, if we haven't met already. And this is Dewey, my wife. So for the last several years, we've done this new camper orientation. It's actually a full day for us. We do an orientation in the morning, and then we actually have a meeting with our first year staff members this afternoon to kind of get them started on thinking more directly about being counselors now that it's so close. We start that process actually during their CIT summer and even a little bit before that. But then this afternoon, we, now that it's basically less than 60 days away for them, we start in earnest getting their heads wrapped around the fact that for the first time they're going to be counselors. So it's a busy day for us. So what we're going to do this morning is go through a few of the really important policies at camp, so everyone's on the same page. We've learned that the more information that the parents and the campers have together makes it for a lot less anxiety and concern as we start getting ready for camp and start packing and then eventually, of course, saying goodbye. So we'll go over some of those policies and what we can expect at camp as far as communication and what we're doing at camp. And we'll also go through some of the forms and stuff. I know most of you have gotten a lot of the forms completed, but we'll go through some of the more important details with those. And since travel date and baggage stuff is coming soon, we will start, of course, we will also, of course, go through how travel day works and how we get your bags up to camp and how that whole thing works, so you guys know what to expect for your first-time campers, know what to expect your first day at camp, and how that all works as well. And then towards the end of that, we will do a camper question and answer session. So guys, you can ask some questions of Dewey and I, and we're going to have some counselors here. You can ask them some questions if you'd like, and we'll do that. And then the campers, we're gonna let you guys go out and kind of get to know each other a little bit. There'll be a few counselors here for you guys to hang out with for 30 to 45 minutes and play some games and just get to know each other, so you have some friendly faces that you know at camp. Come on in, there's more chairs along the wall there, and feel free to sit absolutely anywhere. Thank you. All right, and so then once the campers are out, parents, we're going to go over a few articles and some things, some tidbits that we've learned over the years on how to help your transition and letting go of your kids for the first time and all the wonderful feelings that come with that. We're going to kind of help you through some tips and some advice, and of course also have a question and answer session for you without your children needing to be in the room, so you can ask some questions that hopefully you'd like to ask with us and discuss with a little privacy. Okay, so that's kind of the agenda. As I mentioned, there'll be some staff here, and when they come in, I will introduce them. I didn't, 9 o'clock's early on a Sunday for these guys, so they're in high school still, so they're catching up on their REM. So they'll be here about 9:30 or so, and when they come in, I'll introduce them so you guys know who they are as well. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the camper guidebook here. Oh, actually, first thing I'm going to do, and you probably can't read this particularly well, but I try to give everyone an idea of exactly how our administration works and our levels at camp, so you guys know when we're talking about people and you see them in pictures. Guys, there's chairs. There's another row up here if you want to sit up here, but please sit anywhere, please. The table is not required. There's some empty chairs over in this section, so please come join us. So obviously at the top here is Dewey and I as the directors, and we are definitely the people in charge at camp. As I mentioned to those of you that were here a little bit earlier, the camp is actually owned by actually two sets of families now. So the Fisher family, which is 4 brothers from Cincinnati, Ohio, they've owned the camp for going on 30 years this year actually, which is a great accomplishment for them. So they own the camp, and then last year, as some of you may know, Ryan Dowby and his family. Ryan was a longtime camper and counselor, actually a good friend of mine who's a year younger than me actually. He bought into camp with the Fishers last year, so there's kind of the mix of them as the ownership. But as far as what affects our families and our day-to-day at camp, Dewey and I do all of that. It all starts and ends with us. So that is at the top, and then we have 2 assistant directors and a program director. So these are our longtime connections to camp. So Fred is, I won't tell you how old he is, but he's just retired as a teacher after 40 years down in Kentucky. Been at camp with us for over 20 years. So he's our longtime assistant director. I've known him since I was a Group 1 camper at camp. So back in 1991 was his first year at camp. And so I knew him as a camper, and so it's obviously a little interesting for us because I've literally grown up with Fred as a mentor and a father figure. So he is just a great person to have around camp. He does all sorts of little things. He does all sorts of big things. He runs our tennis program. He runs our golf program. And then just every day at camp, he's just somebody that you can count on for good advice, for a good word. The staff, as you can imagine, look up to him. His sachem name is Wise Elder, which tells you a lot about how everyone feels about him at camp. Harry, who will be here later today, we actually just got some great news from him. Harry just got engaged yesterday. He had a big event up in Michigan and is actually flying in a little early to come here for us this afternoon. All right, give me 1 second. There's chairs here, and I'll get some more chairs. Please sit anywhere. Please come fill. Please come fill in the middle here. It's really not a sacred area. Please. It's not? No, it is not. I want everyone to come in and see what's going on. And kids, if you want to sit on the floor, feel free. Lots of chairs. Tables are not required or necessary. Come on over. Let everyone get settled in. And again, there's coffee, tea, water. Please help yourselves. Don't be shy. All right, so for those that just came in, you didn't miss anything really. We were just introducing ourselves and just kind of running through kind of the hierarchy at camp so you know who is watching your kids, right? So Matt and Dewey is the directors. Fred is our longtime assistant director, and then Harry, who I was just mentioning, just got engaged yesterday, has been our assistant director now for his 4th year. After being a longtime camper, a longtime counselor, so I believe it's his 14th year overall at camp, and he would kill me if I got that number wrong, but it's somewhere around there. So he's been a longtime camper, counselor, now assistant director. He just obtained, or is finishing just this month actually, getting his master's in social work. He's looking for a job, by the way, for anyone who has connections to the school systems. He's going to be a school social worker, and really is a terrific personality around camp, but his main focus as far as staff is he works very closely with our CIT and junior counselor programs. So the CIT program, the last year that you guys are campers, which is going into your junior year in high school. So your summer going into your junior year in high school, you're considered a CIT, counselor in training. And you're very much still a camper. 90% of what you're doing, you're a camper. But we have an extremely high rate of campers who become counselors if they finish their CIT summer. So over 85%. So these guys that come through our program and are with us for a long time, they come their CIT summer for 8 weeks. And so part of that summer we spend on getting you ready to be a counselor because we know that that's what you ultimately want to do the next year. So you do a couple of really interesting bonding. You do a long trip on the Boundary Waters, do a week-long Boundary Waters trip, which is a great canoe trip up in Minnesota. And then your second session, you're actually assigned to a cabin. You have a counselor mentor and a cabin that you kind of watch over with your counselors, and it's basically just to give you an idea of what it means to be a counselor. And you get some exposure to that, and there's weekly meetings throughout the summer as well. And then your junior counselor summer, you're obviously learning a lot. It's brand new for guys. For a lot of our junior counselors, it's their first job ever. So not only are we teaching them how to be counselors at camp, we're teaching them what it means to work. It's a good experiment. But they do a great job. Our junior counselors are wonderful, and some of our second year guys are walking in right now together, so we'll introduce them in just a second. So Harry runs that junior counselor and CIT program. He spends a lot of time doing that. And then Jay is our longtime program director. Jay is a teacher, actually down in Baton Rouge right now, and it's his third year as a full-time teacher. And it's going to be his 17th summer at camp already. And Jay does all of the assignments at camp, so the counselors really need to be nice to him. He does all of our daily assignments. He's the one who makes sure the camp really runs on all the day-to-day basis with all of our programming, special activities, getting buses to camp, having the right equipment. His other title is Director of Operations, which means he's ordering all the equipment, and so Jay's really my right-hand man as far as making camp run. So that's our main administration. Then we have our senior staff, and this is a mix of what we call chiefs and leadership team members. So chiefs are your head counselors, okay? So chiefs are the guys who are in charge of your age group. There's 4 age groups at camp. Who knows the age groups already? Give me, you can Lappins, you can't. Any new campers know if you're in 5th grade or younger, what you're going to be called this year? What's your age group called? Chips, I got 2, exactly, chips. And then going into 6th grade, who knows what you are when you're going into 6th grade? Lappins, I'm not calling it. That's the next one. What's the one right before that? Rhymes with moo. Who said it? Sue, yeah. And then, 7th and 8th grade, what are you? You're a Mohawk for 7th and 8th grade. And then everyone who's in high school, 9th, 10th, 11th grade is Oneidas. Okay, so that's our 4 age groups at camp. Every age group has a head counselor called a chief, okay? And he is the person who watches out for everybody in the age group. He is the one who communicates directly with the staff in that age group. We have huddles, which are basically weekly meetings. We do that twice a week, actually, where just the counselors from your age group meet together and talk about what's going on in your age group. So there's a lot of conversation, making sure everyone's doing really well. So those are your chiefs. LT stands for leadership team. We have 3 leadership team members. These are senior staff members, guys in their mid to late 20s, been with us for 5 to 8 years. They don't have cabin assignments. They're not living with kids, but they're running our major program areas: skiing, waterfront, and tripping. So we have them in charge of those very potentially dangerous areas and keep them very safe and well organized. And then they are also helping out the staff in terms of supervision. They help our administration help out with supervision. And then from there we have area heads. So like each area has its own sports or activities area has heads who are in charge of that, making sure that the programming is running well, that we have the right equipment and materials, all that kind of great stuff. And then finally our kitchen, our nurses, our maintenance guys, so what we consider our support staff to make camp run. And then from there we have our staff. So we have 50 cabin counselors this year. That's a very good number. So that's going to mean for every cabin, they'll have at least 2 counselors. In our younger cabins, they're going to have probably 4 counselors in each cabin. So that's very good supervision. And that's a mix of returning staff. So anyone who's coming back for their 3rd year, meaning they're 19 in college or older, they're considered senior staff. And if you're a 1st or 2nd year counselor, you're considered a junior counselor. Junior counselor 1, junior counselor 2. So these guys in the back here are junior counselor 2s. Can I bring you guys up just to say hello real quick? Come on up, don't be shy. So these guys are second-year counselors, but all these guys are very long-term campers at camp. So this is not their first time through camp, though. I'll let them introduce themselves, and why don't you say where, since you guys are all going to college, why don't you say we're going to college now, which is scary. And how many years have you been at camp, and yeah.
My name is Justin Frum. I'm going to University of Illinois in the fall, and this is my 9th year at camp.
Hi, I'm Ben Wellig. As Matt said, it's our second year on staff. It's my 11th at camp, and I'll be attending the University of Michigan next fall.
Go Blue.
Hi, I'm Josh Small. This is going to be my 10th summer at camp, and I am attending Emory University in Atlanta in the fall.
John Wellig, Ben's twin, as you could guess. 11th year and also going to Michigan.
Go Blue.
My name is Adam Pearl. It will be my 10th year at camp, and I will be attending the University of Illinois.
Great. Thank you, guys. So these guys are all going to be on staff this year, obviously, and then they're going to hang out and be with our campers when we move on to the next session here. So thanks, guys. Good to see you, by the way. All right. So I did go to the University of Michigan, by the way, and I'm a huge Michigan supporter, if you don't know. And yes, the colors for Kawaga worked out very well with blue and gold for my entire wardrobe. And I don't think I have anything to do with it, but about 14 of our counselors now are at the University of Michigan, which is awesome. So I love visiting the campus, as you can imagine. So, all right, so that's kind of the hierarchy of camp. Any campers have any questions about that? It's just so you guys kind of have an idea of how camp works, okay? All right, so we're going to go through the Parent Camper Guidebook here now.
Not through the whole thing.
Not through the whole thing, just some important highlights.